All right, let's jump right in. If you work in or around a project management office, you already know the struggle. For the past decade, PMOs have largely been seen as these administrative scorekeepers, right? Basically, the place where project managers go just to get audited, totally bogged down in reporting, compliance, and governance. But the modern business environment demands so much more than that. It absolutely demands a trusted strategic advisor. So today, in this explainer, we're diving into a highly practical field guide by Sandeep Mehta titled 5 Signals Your PMO is Becoming Strategic. We're going to unpack exactly how a PMO genuinely transforms from a reactive compliance layer into a highly trusted thinking partner, one that shapes business value way before a crisis even has the chance to happen. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover 1. From scorekeeper to advisor. 2. Timing and value metrics. 3. Recommendations and process influence. 4. AI frees up judgment. 5. Assessing your PMO. And 6. The strategic mindset. Section 1. From scorekeeper to advisor, the transformation journey. Okay, so every PMO starts out the exact same way. As a system for keeping track of things. We're talking status reports, RAG dashboards, gate reviews, the whole shebang. Business leaders tolerate the PMO because, well, governance is necessary, but they aren't exactly looking to it for groundbreaking insights. And let's be honest, most PMOs spend the vast majority of their time on administration. They're reconciling red, amber, and green colors or endlessly formatting steering committee decks. It's necessary work for sure, but it's not what makes a PMO indispensable. A strategic PMO, on the other hand, evolves into a true thinking partner. They're showing up in resource allocation and portfolio prioritization conversations long before things go off the rails. Now, it is incredibly tempting to think you can just mandate a strategic PMO overnight with a new organizational chart, a bigger team, or some shiny revised corporate charter. But that literally never works. As Sandeep notes in his guide, a PMO becomes strategic not by gaining more authority, but by gaining more trust. And this shift, it happens gradually. You have to earn that influence one good recommendation at a time. You simply can't decree it. Let's make this super concrete. Think about the difference in how time is actually spent. An administrative PMO tracks status after decisions are already made. It reports on activity. It measures on-time performance. And ultimately, it consumes leadership's time. But a strategic PMO does the exact opposite. It helps shape decisions before they are finalized. It reports on value, it recommends trade-offs, and most importantly, it gives leadership their time back. That is the core dichotomy we're trying to navigate here. Section 2. Timing and value metrics. Signals 1 and 2. Signal number 1. You are in the room before the decision. Honestly, the clearest sign of a strategic PMO is timing. An admin PMO learns about an initiative when it lands on their desk via an intake form already fully scoped and approved. At that point, their only job is execution. But a strategic PMO, they're consulted while the idea is still just being brainstormed. Leaders are asking them, hey, does this overlap with existing work? Do we even have the capacity for this? If you want to test this, try asking to attend a leadership strategy session just as an observer and listen for moments where your portfolio view could have completely changed the discussion. And that brings us right into signal 2. Your metrics measure value, not just velocity. Administrative PMOs are always reporting on motion, right? Percentage complete, tasks closed, schedule, budget. Strategic PMOs, however, report on meaning. They're tracking revenue impact, alignment with the broader strategy, and actual customer value. Because velocity tells you how fast you're moving, but value tells you whether you're actually heading in the right direction. Let's move to Section 3, Recommendations and Process Influence, Signals 3 and 4. Signal 3 is all about recommendations. There is this very specific light bulb moment every PMO leader remembers. The first time a business executive asks them, totally unprompted, what do you think we should do next, instead of just what happened last week? Executives pay for judgment, not spreadsheets. So instead of just handing over a report that says, Project Atlas is 15% over budget, a strategic PMO says, Project Atlas is 15% over budget because of those Q2 scope additions. I recommend rebaselining rather than cutting scope. And here's the trade-off. You are consistently pairing your data with a strong point of view, which leads seamlessly into Signal 4. You influence process and approach, not just progress. Sandeep points out that this is the hardest signal to earn, but man, is it the most powerful. While an administrative PMO simply reports that a project is off track, a strategic PMO digs deeper. They trace that delay back to a root cause. Maybe it's a sequencing issue, and then they actually recommend a methodology change that the entire organization adopts. You stop just tracking projects and you start actively improving how projects are executed across the whole enterprise.
Section 4. AI frees up judgment. Signal 5.
Signal 5 is where things get really exciting because it's all about how AI frees your team up for that crucial judgment work. The shift in time allocation here is dramatic. Previously, a PMO might spend 80% of its time on manual data collection and formatting reports, leaving a measly 20% for actual analysis. But as AI steps in to handle routine status collection and basic risk flagging, that ratio completely flips. The PMO can now spend 70% of its time on strategic thinking, pattern recognition, and stakeholder coaching. AI isn't replacing the PMO, it is literally just removing the administrative busywork. Your most scarce resource shifts from time to attention.
Section 5. Assessing your PMO, where to start. So, I want to pose this question directly to you. Out of these 5 signals, which one should be your very next investment of time and credibility? Now, don't panic, you don't need all 5 at once. Most highly strategic PMOs took years to build up all 5. The goal here isn't to magically check every single box overnight, it's simply to know exactly where you stand right now. To figure that out, you can score yourself from 1 to 5 on these progressive statements. Are you consulted before decisions? Does your reporting show strategic contribution? Do leaders ask you for recommendations? Have you successfully recommended a process change? And is your routine reporting automated? Whichever one of those scores the lowest, well, that's where you need to focus next. Why? Because they build on each other sequentially. Getting access to the room earns you the standing to reshape the metrics. Better metrics earn you the credibility to make recommendations, and proven recommendations earn you the authority to actually change processes. It's a step-by-step ladder of trust.
Finally, Section 6, the strategic mindset, a human-centric journey. In the dedication of his eBook, Simdeep writes this really beautiful line to his family. He says, true leadership begins at home. Resilience is built through togetherness. It's such a vital reminder, because despite all our talk about AI, automated workflows, and enterprise methodologies today, this transformation is fundamentally a human-centric journey. Strategic thinking, human judgment, and the ability to influence and build trust with other people, those remain the absolute true differentiators of a high-performing PMO. It is so much more than just a sterile process manual. And that leaves us with this powerful closing thought. The strategic PMO isn't just a slightly bigger, better version of the administrative one. It is an entirely different function that just happens to share the same name. And remember, it's built one earned recommendation at a time. So my question to you is this. If you had to pick just one signal, one tiny move to start earning that trust, what is honestly stopping you from doing it tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and we'll see you next time.